In the far future, there will be only war.
The chains are broken.
This will be a good hunt.
Through the dark veil of space-time.
This is Warp Chatter.
Stone and steel will speak.
Let's get this over with.
All right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Emerging from the warp. This is the Warp Chatter podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to talking about Horus Heresy, Legions, the digital card game. This is a podcast by players for players. I am your host, Scuff D, and we have been delayed, vanished, emerging as if we were a space Hulk from the strange miasma of the warp. We've been gone for some time due to circumstances beyond our control, but we have returned. And returning with me is my crab co-host, Axel Manning.
Howdy ho.
He's sporting several new crab claws as a result of our time in the Eye of Terror studios. And then joining us tonight, we're going to be talking with the Team Canada from the World Cup. They joined us on an episode when the World Cup was kicking off that initially got streamed instead of recorded, and then I uploaded the recording too, but this time we're doing this a little bit proper, and World Cup has concluded, so we're going to be talking to them about all sorts of things. But Team Canada consists of Pirate Lahi?
You almost got it this time. Hey, what's up, boys?
LCFR?
You nailed it, Scuff. Perfect pronunciation.
All right, and Grumpy Ghosts.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back. So it has been almost 2 months, I think, since the last episode of the Warp Chatter podcast we did was with Team Germany. This is before Top Cut. It was the end of July. And now that we've come back, World Cup has concluded, and Team Canada is the World Cup champions of World Cup 2. Congratulations. Before we go off anymore, I don't have a round of applause sound effects. Congrats. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks a lot, man. It's
Hello.
every time someone says that, I'm always a bit proud of it, because it wasn't easy. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't easy. But yeah, we're fucking world champions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to stack a pretty big pile of skulls for it, too, for months and months.
I actually went back, and the whole tournament went for almost 5 months. That's a lot of time that, every one of us put into this tournament, and the result was, very satisfying, because obviously when you win, you feel a lot more better, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a long time, and multiple patches, several significant patches through the course of that. Some, I think the Desperate Defense one was definitely the first one to really cause some issues, and then we had the complete change and rework of the Thousand Suns.
If you ask me, the Thousand Sun rework affected the semifinals so much because it happened right before the semifinals. So, and every team had Ahriman. So, yes, this was like a bit like Desperate Defense. But the thing is that, we were all locked up on our choices when that happened. So we got lucky, and the tournament organizers gave us a chance to change Warlord. Some of us did, some of us didn't. I don't want to get into too much details, but if I take the example of Vapix, that he's been on the podcast before, he decided to play Ahriman regardless, and that actually cost him his matchup, and that probably cost Austria the chance to go to the final because they lost because of that. So yeah, not great.
That's rough.
It's a risky move to take.
Yeah, but Vapix, he likes to do that stuff. Personally, I had Ahriman. I decided to not go with him with that round, and that really paid off to do that. And then the round after that, I just changed the Warlord. But yeah, it's not. It was when you get a tournament that goes for over 5 months, there's so much changes going on with the game and stuff. You need to adapt constantly, which is why the victory is so much more satisfying, because we adapted throughout the whole thing. That felt amazing to win it all, especially as underdogs, because let's say it, we were underdogs. The only team from Group B to came up into the semifinals as well. So yeah, it felt really good.
I believe in Canada at all times.
Correct me if I'm wrong. None of you, Pirate, you had War Master. I think every team had players with War Master on it. All the teams were super stacked. Some really solid competition across the board.
Yeah. Most teams had War Masters, but it's not, it's one thing to be War Master, but it doesn't mean that you're a great tournament player. Right. It's very different.
Well, and like you said, you essentially had to evolve as you played based off of, not only just the meta, the patches that are going on, but then every round it's a different opponent, possibly different matchups. Tournament is a lot different than ladder play, and when you're doing that for 5 months, just about, that's a lot of grueling games, and every game matters, every game counts. So that's not just like showed up to the regional tournament and played 8 games and walked away with a trophy. There's a lot of time in there. It's the closest thing we have in Horus Heresy Legions to something, groups doing the pro qualifier circuit and flying around, going to the big tournaments to get qualified in to make rank to be able to play in the finals. And it's the same equivalent. And I think the World Cup is just a fitting title to it, and to say World Cup champions. I know the Everguild even put it up on their page, for that. I believe in their blog post, did they have something about?
Did they really?
I believe they did.
I have to go check that out.
Or at least they mentioned the World Cup finals. I don't know if they have announced the winners, because you guys just got your card backs too, didn't you?
We actually, the tournament organizers just sent the email. I believe it's Friday, so we should receive them by midweek next week. But yeah, they did announce it when we announced the World Cup. They did promote it, but I don't think. I think they pretty much just learned who the winners are. So I don't think they.
So then they might be announcing the winners whenever they do their next blog post, and hopefully that time you guys will have the card backs to flaunt. So
yes.
I'm surprised they gave you guys a new card back for it too. I thought we were still going on the old system.
Very pretty new card back.
Yes. I'm pleasantly surprised, because I also was expecting that they were going to be using the original card back for it, but it's pretty exciting. We haven't received it, but we have seen it, and it's very, it's very pretty.
Yeah.
We're first episode back, and we're doing visual gags again. I'm very happy.
Yeah,
people at home.
Amazing. It looks much better than the first one, just because it looks, the colors are brighter. There's effect around it. It's just, very a cleaner look. So yeah, we were very happy about that, because we asked for, at least make it different so that we know that it's not from the same tournament as the first one. Right?
Exactly.
And it's very nice of them. And I sent an email right after that when I learned that we were getting a new one. I thanked them. And if you're listening to that, EG, thank you a lot. Thank you a lot for listening to our request. It's appreciated.
Yeah, I was shocked, because I really expected them just to go back to the original, where just have it again. And if you already have it, well, here's some gems that you don't need. Maybe you guys need 400 gems.
That really, after 5, that would be just the ultimate thanks.
Balls.
Feels as if you played bad dudes from the 80s and you rescue the president and he just takes you out for cheeseburgers.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels bad.
That's all the city of New York gave to the Avengers, just shawarma.
That's true.
Why not?
Listen, this is what we got on hand. Doesn't happen every day. Here's some free shawarma.
We've got to spend our billions lifting back up the banks that got blown up in the interdimensional war. Sorry, guys.
Quite a bit of collateral.
A little bit of collateral.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think again, one of the for anyone that because I'm pretty sure it was a big success. We had over a bit more than 175 people that's put down their name to participate back then in March. and there was a lot of people. It was nice, and I think the key to really go for in that type of tournament is the chemistry, and not just like me, LCFR, and Grumpy Ghost know each other's for some for a long time now. But even then, I've seen some other teams, and I'm gonna take the example of Germany, who had people from actually not the same lodges or never talked to them. Never talked to each other before, and they actually developed a great chemistry as well. They went pretty far too, so it's all about communicating, I think.
Yeah, and that was something I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I know, Pirate, you and me kind of PM'd a little bit. You had mentioned, and you did send me a picture. You guys had gotten actually together physically, like at a lodge or a cabin or something up by the lake, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Shadow Slot 007 was having a little birthday gathering, and we're close neighbors. So we headed up north to the Muskokas in North Ontario, and can hardly call it North Ontario, but anyways, north of the cities, anyways. And Pirate wasn't too far a drive away, so we had him drop by. It's really nice to be able to put a face to a name, and we had a fun weekend. Yeah. From what I remember, and there's definitely some parts I don't. So
that's a good party, my man.
Yeah, I would agree.
So yeah, no, it's cool. Chemistry is very important, Scuffed. I'm sure you experienced it in the first World Cup when you played with actually people from very different lodges.
Yeah.
If correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you played with Phil Carey and AZ Almighty, all from different lodges. So.
Right, yeah. I think at the time Phil was in
Seekers.
No, he wasn't in Seekers at the time. I think he was in Aramon, the Eriters. It was before he moved over to Seekers. And EZ was in one of the Masterclass lodges, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that was Team America? That was Team America in World Cup 1?
Yeah.
That's a pretty badass team.
It was pretty
actually.
Good. We made it to the top 8, and then we lost to Russia, who beat the whole thing. I mean, they dominated, and then they kept dominating, and then so at least just making the top 8, that was pretty nice. That was a good achievement. But yeah, it was really fun interacting with different players from different lodges, as opposed. I mean, we've got Lodge Wars coming up. Just, I think the cutoffs actually, as we're recording this tonight on the 18th of September, are tomorrow, and that is going to be the next big tournament series. But that is pretty much lodge specific, and it's going to be people that you already probably are talking with or playing with. So it's not frequently where we have these tournaments where you're pairing up with somebody else. We used to have them a little bit more, where we'd have the faction wars, where players could sign up, and like 3 players, every player would play, 4 players would make a team, and then that team would play all the Blood Angels, and the other teams would play all the Raven Guard. I don't think it's been a while since we've had a faction wars, and that's the only other series I can think of that kind of allowed for interacting with people kind of outside your lodge.
Yeah, before Team Canada, I suppose that was it, because the other team tournaments were, they were lodge centered, if I'm not mistaken. There were smaller tournaments that might pair people together, but no, absolutely, it's really the World Cup that's made it kind of expanded it beyond lodge networks.
Yeah, well, and that's just, I think. Like you're saying, like the chemistry, getting to work with other people, getting to know people, maybe even in the same area, and kind of develop new relationships. Kind of whether it's learning something from people who maybe you don't interact with or share deck lists with, or just having a better respect for, like, wow, yeah, they that's a good player. I can respect them because I know they know what they're talking about. They know how to play this game, or they look at this deck a totally different way than I look at this deck. So it's cool.
Yeah, communication is very important, but that goes for all. You mentioned Lodge War, which is coming. Are you going to cover that a bit? I know you guys got your own teams too, so it's a great tournament. It's one of the biggest too. So
yeah, I think either in a week or two I'm going to have Terse on to talk about Lodge Wars, because then because at that point everything will be said. It's kind of too late. Unfortunately, I've not had the episode time to promote it, so by the time people are hearing this, the signups are already done, but I definitely want to cover that because we want to see, who the teams are, what the lodges are, who that are participating, obviously go over the rules. That's going to be the next big format. I don't know, though, if we're going to have enough space to guest everybody, because the teams on that one it's not just 3-member teams. We're talking like, the whole lodge can participate in that. So getting 20 people on the podcast might be a little
the
tricky.
easy solution is you get like 4 teams on at once, and you just see what happens.
Just have like
Make it like a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, just a giant
boxes everywhere.
It's just a bunch of people asking, like, can you hear me? Is my mic on?
Oh, Jesus.
Quality content right there, folks.
And then you just raise one question, and you just see who tries to answer first. It'll just be 800 people talking over each other. Perfect.
Yeah, so, I mean, we won't be talking about that, but that'll be coming up at a later date. And I know you guys have kind of made the rounds with the with the other content creators doing interviews, not just after the World Tournament, but I think there was a couple guys doing interviews with all the teams during the World Tournament, which was pretty awesome to see more content creators kind of getting involved in that too. It just seemed like, I know it kind of got off to a shaky start, but I think as it progressed and as it kind of wrapped up, I think a lot of people got involved with it, or at least came out of it enjoying it. I didn't see a whole lot of salt at the end, which is always pleasant.
No, the salt subsided once it started to flow a little more smoothly, and also once the new TO Zacharias had determined that 4 teams from each of the groups would proceed to the elimination finals, which was originally how it was intended. In the previous tournament, this tournament started off with, it would have been an elimination finals of 4 teams. And he expanded that to include the top 4 of each bracket. And that obviously, that just kind of raised the enjoyment factor for many people. One, because you had better odds of making it in. Mm-hmm. But even on top of that, you just got to see a more robust finals round, which is really what it proved to be. It was a pretty wild ride. So it did turn out to be quite fun in the end. I think, in all the teams competing in the eliminations were they were into it. They were into it.
Talking about all the teams, because did you have to play any teams a second time in the finals?
No, because all of the people in our group got eliminated by group.
Right. Yeah.
This is you guys don't have access to that, but a lot of people in the other teams that were in Group A were good friends of mine and over in our community. So they were really making fun of us, they were like, yeah, Group B is the practice group, they're like, we're just walking all over them, you know what I mean? Because it was basically what was going on. Like, they eliminated the Nordics, which was the first
and
team.
the Nordics were a strong team. Yeah. They were a really strong team. But yeah, that was the talk of the tournament throughout it, and I agreed. Group A, we were Group B, right? And Group A was definitely the stronger bracket. Like, hands down. So instead, normally in the World Cup, and the way the tournament ran originally was that we had 8 groups of 4, right? If you had 32 teams, let's say, right? And out of every group of 4 from the group stages, 2 teams would advance. This tournament ran with 2 massive brackets, 2 massive groups, essentially, of 12 or at least 8.
I think
anyways.
9.
Yeah, right. And then you had to be top 4 in that to be able to escape. And then as soon as that happened, their top 4 just completely obliterated our top 4. And nobody was shocked. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, it felt good to be, like, when you're underdogs, people kind of underestimate you and stuff. But we came out strong, and we actually beat on the very first playoff game, we did beat the favorite for the World Cup, which was Team Asia. And we did beat them thanks to my 2 teammates here. So, yeah, beating them was like a big statement. So after that,
that would make a big statement. Like, you're here, you're still around, and you took out a big threat.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we were the underdog, but I think that people who made that judgment obviously made it poorly. But I didn't fully understand it either. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm a little long in the tooth in the game, right? Like, I don't typically play in the top anymore. I haven't for some time, right? But I'm like, I don't know, Team Canada. I'm like, the roster looks good, except for my wacky third warlord choice. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't have given us as bad odds as they did. But definitely, as Pirate said, beating Asia. Which was a pretty stacked powerhouse team. Beating Asia it kind of changed everything, and the Germans, I think the Germans wound up preparing a lot as a result of that shakeup.
What would you guys say? Like, who's your hardest matchup team? It doesn't have to be the same for each of you, but I'm kind of curious, like, what you saw as your hardest fought match.
Well, my only loss throughout the whole tournament was Spellbreaker from Team Asia. So personally, I got to go with that because obviously I lost. So that was my toughest for sure. Close games, but I still lost. So
impressive. You pretty much, almost swept the entire way through.
Yeah, I had a good tournament. I did good things. It worked out. But, it's always there's always a bit of luck involved. And I can agree that if you check some of the stuff I did, I was pretty lucky on a lot of things. But, it's the same for everyone. So it's a luck-based game. So at the end of the day, yes, there's luck involved, but it's not the only thing involved. Deck building is the most, it's the most present aspect in the game. So.
And it's also setting yourself up to take advantage of luck so it can benefit you as much as it can. Yeah, luck's a factor, 100%. And every decent player knows it. But your ability to set yourself up to make the most of any RNG that's going to happen, that's really what makes the difference. That's where card isn't just simply unga bunga, but it actually becomes some element of a cerebral exercise. And you do it well.
Cheers. So yeah, that's
Grumpy. Grumpy, what was your hardest? What was your Grumpy played the new? Grumpy was like new school warlords. It was Raldoron, Horswain, and Perturabo. What was hardest for those three?
All my final matches, because I could skim through and get the 2-1 wins or the 2-1 losses throughout the group stage. But as soon as the finals came, like the stress, the tension, that was just automatically there. B-side, that was a hell of a match. Beer Bear, also incredible. I didn't actually get to play in the finals, and thank the both of you for that. But yeah, it was those final matches, just the tension and everything that was riding on it already. Like the group stages, there was always a chance that get them in the next one, but as soon as there's not a next one, like it gets there. You feel it.
Yeah, all the finals were pretty hardcore. Yeah, I think for my
very fun.
Actually, you know what? Honorable mention for sure, Lurifax. That was a heavy match in the group stage for me.
Were those Russians?
Yeah, he's great. He came back afterward and chatted with me about it. I learned a little bit from there too, so that was nice.
Lurifax was Nordics.
Nordics, yeah. Yeah, you and I both lost in the Nordics round in group stages. That was a tough match for us.
They were in our group. Yeah, we knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah, and it was.
Speaking of, by the way, Axel, you were correct in your predictions. If you look back a couple podcasts ago, you guys, Kavdi and you did prediction, and Axel got it right.
That's right.
Did I? I didn't even notice. That's amazing. Well, maybe not amazing, but hey, it was lucky, guys.
Time to start those gambling addictions, buddy.
That's right.
Oh, you imply I don't already have them. I play card games for fun. That's just part in it. Okay. Time to build only trap decks.
Right. It's a massive gambling going on there.
I mean,
I didn't get to watch the play-by-play of the week by week for a couple weeks there. I know I just kind of caught up to see who got into the finals, and then it was. I think that the one thing, at least with the series though, is once you got into the finals, rounds went faster, right? I mean, it escalated pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. It had a much faster pace because people were more serious about it and stuff, So for sure, it was faster, but It was harder too because I did not practice as much as I would have liked because it was right in the middle of my holidays. But I know LCFR and Grumpy, they would spend great practice time, and this is why they came on top because they were doing the work,
Well, I learned a lot.
That grind.
Sometimes it's what it takes. Lots of games, lots of play, and
Yep.
All I can do is tip my hat to you guys because that is, when you think about it, that's a lot of time, and to the victor go the spoils.
Yeah, we're victorious. That's all that matters at the end. That's what people will remember.
That's right. Well, I know you guys have talked at length with others about it. Is there anything else coming or going from, I guess I should say, going from the World Cup to Lodge Wars? Are all three of you guys planning on playing in Lodge Wars? Obviously, different. LC, you're in a different lodge, but you guys still plan on playing in the whole series?
The Praetorian. I'm with Praetorians and Dreadhost, and I think Praetorians are putting together a team. It might include some Dreadhost members if I don't think we have enough active, willing players to make two teams. So I think one team's going to play. I'm not planning on being involved myself, but I know that there's enough folks to field a team, and they're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're in the same boat with Trader's End. We had to pull a couple people from our Orion Lodge to get the 9 members needed, but we've got a kind of a mixed bag team, but it should be fun.
Are you guys looking to, because like you said, you're going to host Thirst to explain in length how the tournament works, but if we're talking teams, are you planning on, having more than one team from your community?
We've got, so there'll be the Trader's End team, and then there will be the Fragile Art and Merciless are pairing up. So those two.
Cool.
And I think that's it. So there'll be 2 teams from our community, but they'll be mixed teams. Yeah,
that's fine. From us, this is why I talked to Turs before, because it was in the middle of my vacation, and that the original date has been, it's been moved. I asked for it. I know a couple people did ask for it too. It was just bad timing. I couldn't really organize the full thing. But now with a lot of times on my hand to do that, I was able to assemble 6 teams and of at least 9 people and maybe 2 or 3 replacement in each roster. So maybe 12 people per team, and that's 6 teams. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I really asked everyone, if they wanted to play, because in my opinion, the more lodges are involved, the more fun it is. And obviously we're going to compete against each other's, but it's fine. It's, it's part of the thing. It's fun. So it's cool.
Yeah. These tournaments don't come up that often. So I know the interest sometimes wax and wanes, and especially we're coming out of summertime or getting into school year for some people. Some people have got real life commitments, but yeah, they don't come up that often, so I think it's been over a year since we had the last Lodge Wars, so, just trying to get people involved, like, hey, if you're interested, even if you're thinking about it just a little bit, it's worth it, you'll have fun, just be part of the team, and that alone sometimes is enough to garner some more excitement about the game.
Yeah, play a tournament, folks, and play the Bar Night Legion tournament. It's even more fun.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I got to be bringing those back in October.
There is no reason not to grab just join in tournaments. Like, even if you're not that confident, as long as your restrictions are better towards early players, you can get that legendary you want.
Well, just like today, I just hopped into a voice chat, and there was you and Dole saying, hey, Grumpy, you want to get into a tournament really fast? Came second. That's fun. It's like 2,000 coins or something. I'll take it. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I ended up 4th.
Some Mr. Midnight for winning that one. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. It was a fun tournament.
Tournaments are fun.
I could have fought to see. I could have fought to see if I got 3rd or 4th, but I was busy at the time, so I just gave my 3rd place away.
But and you get gold. If you take first, you get legendary. As a new player, both of those are super, super nice to have.
They're necessary, if anything.
Yeah. Speaking of gold, and I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself, but it kind of ties in with some of these new things that were added while we were on hiatus in the warp. The game Everguild added some new features to the game, and not necessarily second gem use, but we got the campaign mode, which I never got to talk about, and also with that they added the redemption code possibility back into the game. That was something that was in the game from the get-go back in beta, but there never was a way to get promo codes. It was just there, and then they took it out at some point because they knew that they weren't using it, but they put that back in, and they've given, I don't know if they've given promo codes to others, but I've got promo codes to give out that are worth 1,000 gold. And today, as of September 18th, I put up a video. It's just a quick little thing. I'm doing 2 different contests for that. One on my YouTube channel, which is essentially a card creation contest. And 3 winners from that will get promo codes for 1,000 gold. Basically, submit.
Oh, card creation contest. That's fun.
Yeah. Submit a fan creation. You don't have to. I don't need the image, although images are nice. But if they want to, this is what there's a tactic that I would made. So if it's for an existing faction or for a faction not in there, or a troop or a warlord, as long as it's not like a Primarch, because that's technically 3 cards, because then you got to do their reckoning. So I'm trying to keep it simple. But yeah, so card creation contests through the YouTube channel. Top 3 winners will get their gold that way, or their promo code for the gold. And then I'm doing a contest for the podcast listeners, which I'm talking about right now. I probably will go into detail a little bit more in that, I guess, it plugs or to remember. But basically, I want to do a drawing for anybody who's listening to the podcast, put their name in, submit to the drawing, and then October 23rd, which is my birthday, so it's the same cutoff day for the card creation contest, do the drawing for the podcast winners, and then give out a total of 6 promo codes. So 6,000 gold going to 6 different people. Or 1,000.
He's giving away free gold.
I'm crazy.
He's giving away free gold, everybody.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one getting promo codes at some point, but I asked way back when, before, I think we'll say before July. I was like, hey, I see we're doing these promo codes. Are you going to be giving them out? And it took a while for them to get back to me. And a couple weeks ago, they're like, okay, we're going to give them out. How are you going to, what do you want to do with them? I'm like, well, as it just so happens, I've got some ideas. So
I've got a toilet seat that needs to be lined in gold.
That's actually pretty cool of them to give the opportunity to people, to give you the opportunity to, make the game, I guess, more popular in a certain sense, that people may be more invested into it. So that's pretty cool of them to give you those promo code, and pretty cool of you to, organize those things to get them. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things where it's part of their game, their design, with the promo code actually having that in there. But the way they work with the community, content creators, or tournaments being community organized, that is one positive that I have to say. I know some people vent at length about Everguild. I don't have experience with other games, other mobile game developer companies, but I've never really had any problems with Everguild, and I really appreciate the communication that they've had with us, whether that is the Q&As on the Discord, some of which are useful and some of which are not, just the fact that they've got them,
Yeah.
The prize support for tournaments, which is completely outside the scope of the game. There's nothing in the game to set up a tournament bracket or run it. It's all fan made or community made. It's really, really nice that they do that. And, so stay tuned, or I guess later on we'll talk about maybe how people can get in the podcast, the Warp Chatter drawing for promo codes. And if you want more information on the promo code contest for card creation contests, you can check out the video I've got on my YouTube channel for that as well. But it's 2 different contests, 6 winners total. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited what that means for the game, because it's a possibility that they might do more with that down the road.
I totally agree. It's a great opportunity, and it's really fun to see that they still, even though the game the game is, the future of the game is a bit, nebulous at the moment. At least they still show that they care. And maybe there's something forward that, at the end of the line, we don't know yet, and it's going to be great, so we'll see. Eh?
Yeah.
And if anything, I think their investment in things like this, to me, says that the future is not as nebulous as we may fear, right? Just because we've got all the Legion spoiled, I'm like, they've proven already to have done so much content that wasn't Legion specific that we didn't really expect. I'm like, show me what you got. I'm looking forward to whatever. Yeah, I think they've got some more stuff to come.
It will be interesting because we are typically annually we see the new expansion release teaser start in October, right? Like October, end of October, early November. So we are about a month away to seeing what is next. Like what expansion are you going to give us? Are we going to get 5th Warlords? Is it going to be across the board? Or is it going to be going back to some of the factions from Mistfon 3? Is it going to be a mixed bag? Are we going to see new factions altogether? Like, we're not that far away from that.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. Also, before that, I don't know if you remember, but we are going to have a raid event for sure coming up. And if it's not the next event, it's going to be the one after that, because it's normally around that time, too, that the raid event comes up. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be refreshing.
Well, and what do you think it's going to be?
Go ahead. I'm just arguing on what the Warlord I want from it. I want the character... he's Lord Castellan of the Solar Auxilla. That guy's cool.
No. The reward for the raid event and the boss is gonna be the Emperor. Let's go! I'm telling you, boys, it's gonna be the Emperor.
They aren't gonna just toss him out yet. I assume he's gonna come when they start reinforcing factions. He might be another warlord.
Did none of you see the what was it? It was something Astartes. It was like a mutant Astartes something.
Astartes Abomination.
That's the one, yeah. Is that not what we're getting out of the raid event?
I thought he was going to be part of the campaign.
I hope not.
Interesting.
Because he's part of the Raven Guard stuff, technically.
Fair, okay.
He might be, because he seems unique.
I believe the Raven Guard is supposed to be the next campaign we're getting, right? Supposedly.
Next is World Eaters.
Is it World Eaters?
And then Raven Guard. It's World Eaters against... a whole lot of people, but the last boss is Horus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you spoke of campaign earlier, Scuffed. I think it's a great way to invest newer players into the game, or at least attract people into the player base. I don't know about you guys, but for us veterans, for me at least, it's kind of very boring, but I can definitely see the attraction for players that just got into the game. You get free stuff, it's not too hard, it's lore related, kinda. So I can see the attraction for.
Are you saying a card back is not good enough for you though?
Well, I only walk on gold. Eh?
Oh yeah. I'm still gonna collect them all. I'll still do the campaign 4 times to get that card back though. I get excited when they come out.
I like those card backs. So far, we've had 3 good ones. So I hope the next one looks nice.
I'm not. I like the. I love the card backs too. I like the card backs too. I mean, I don't find. I'm with Pyre where I find the gameplay for it, even with they have the extra edition where you get to like modify your warlord in some way with some like equipment or whatever. That's cool, right? But I kind of find it a little boring too. And even the card backs, I'm like, if I don't have time to do it, I'm not. I don't know. I'm like, I don't think I can be bothered. But I think it is cool for players who. Maybe not have an expansive collection, so they're like, okay, I get to play some fists, or I get to play like Blood Angels, and then I'll get this really cool exclusive card back. It's cool to offer some kind of form of exclusivity to everyone, even if you're not grinding for top 50 or playing in a big tournament or something. So I think that's cool that they're doing it. But I did feel like relative to what their like the hype around their announcement was, I was expecting more than a card back offering campaign. Yeah, I was expecting kind of a much more maybe radical game mode introduction, or something, or some more major change. I'm like, well, this is fine. this is still cool, but
Listen, that's could still come. We are the secondary game mode. It's there. Apparently, it's going to fix all our problems, 100% of them.
If the rumors are true and they are coming out with 5th Warlords, that's a lot.
Oh, those aren't even rumors. The devs have said they will.
You know what?
Yeah.
Instead of offering card backs at the end of the campaign, they should offer deck slot. That would turn us.
That would turn tremendously.
Let me just say, first off, that we need currently 12 minimum deck slots, because I'm looking at my deck list right now, and it ends at Iota, and that means that the other 3 Agents of the Sigilate Warlords I don't have any slots for, and we got neutral Warlords that are going to come with that raid boss. So yeah, deck slots are nice. The campaign mode, though, correct me if I'm wrong, like if when you clear the first 2 campaign levels, I know you get the reward crate, which is supposed to be aimed like, whatever the faction of the event is, like for Imperial Fist, Thousand Suns, or Blood Angels. But don't you also get the Warlord that you played with as well?
The first one.
You get the
you get the rare one. So at least, especially for new players, without having yeah. So it is a newer player
experience.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't mind it. It's nice, but it definitely is for that. But I think that's really, even though we're 3 years into the game, that's kind of integral, because as we've said a couple other times on other episodes in Discord chat, I mean, we are 3 years into the game, but the game is so big and the library is so big that if you are a new player, it is so intimidating jumping in to try to collect something, a faction, or know where to start, or actually have a chance. There's what is it? There's 5? No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 expansions in this game. As a new player, that's like, where do you start?
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard for new players. It got harder a while back when the gold payout from events changed. That's almost ancient history now, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge, I think. So I think even to be able to offer some form of cosmetic exclusivity, like something for your favorite faction, that's pretty cool. It is helpful, right? But anyway, for them to be able to get new playable cards, that's ideal.
Yeah, and for them to feel
really
like
ideal.
They can do something, like, all right, I can get cards, and I get a little bit of gold, and I don't have to play Loken every day for 5 days. Because I don't know about you guys, but even when I'm doing my change deck and I play Loken, because I've got Loken set for like a backlash challenge, when I see him on the battle screen, I'm just like, oh, so tired. So tired of this picture.
Yeah, you've seen it too much.
Yes.
That's me, but for Garo. My first crate was a Garo.
Where is Alt Art Garo, right? Where is Alt Art Garo?
I want Alt Art Garo. You want to know where he is? He's on Sigilate Chosen.
God.
Yeah.
Dude.
And he looks good there, too.
He looks really good.
They stole it from him.
He looks good, like, over 6 of their cards in that card pool, and none of them are the Warlord. It just chaps me so hard.
It hurts. It hurts that we'll never live in a...
Yeah, like, I started back in Malevolence, and, I'm at about a year and a bit now in, and like, I still don't have the full collection. I still am missing a couple here and there. Like, I think I'm the only one on the team that actually gets a legendary card they were missing.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like,
I
it feels nice. I'm getting Calvus Assassin if anyone's curious. But yeah, it's
nice. That's what you've decided on, the Assassin.
Finally, yeah. Well, I got Vengeful Spirit. I got Kaiser Lane. I got a bunch of different things, and it's what I'm not going to get. It was that or Goreborn. But yeah, like, I still don't have the full collection. Things come out, and the things I'm here for, it's easier to do a bunch of event and pick up everything. But it's Istvan 5. It's Calth. It's weird expansions that I just don't have.
Istvan 5 is a good expansion now. Oh my god, I never thought I'd see the day.
Right,
it's a good expansion now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it means something to have epistolary Rastans now, which I don't have, and it's killing me. I just don't get to play them.
Well, that kind of segues into kind of our auxiliary topic. To talk about the most recent patch, which
Salamander
is primarily not just a patch with salamanders, but I mean, obviously they changed up how sacrifice works. with it being able to trigger from anything that causes your guys on your turn to die, whether that's poison or self-damage that isn't from attacking. And actually, I think I've gained a really fond appreciation of the benevolence teaching. Like the teachings have improved so much. You know,
the teachings are so good.
The teachings are amazing in comparison.
Yeah. So we can talk about that and gauge your guy. I mean, there were some other things that happened in there. Obviously, Luther got his Arch Betrayer, which is finally he's got a final form, which is very powerful. They did a quick little minor improvement to the Thousand Sun Warlords, giving them an additional psychic energy at the start of the game, which is still sad. And then they slightly took away a health from Kazdrak and lowered the cost for Khorne's Favor. So, I mean, Kazdrak is a little bit more vulnerable, but he still does the same thing. And Khorne's Favor...
Khorne's Favor is better for Karn.
Yeah. Yeah,
but those are both good patches. Kazdrak and Khorne's Favor. Those are both good patches. I thought
technically they're
my issue with the Khorne's Favor one is how it's helping Karn more because his curve is getting better, and I don't want to live in a world where Karn can run a healthy curve because that just scares me.
Well, it was fun while I was playing him and no one was playing it, but right now there's a lot of Karn. But yeah, I got like 2 words to say on the. I know that the Thousand Suns patch came out a while ago, but honestly, I really like what they did with the troops. It's super cool. The only problem is that you cannot kill your warlords like that. Right now, the troops of Thousand Suns are fine, in my opinion. Problem is now your warlord, to at least have some use with the ability, you have to work so hard for it, it's often not worth it. So
you have to build a lot of cards into the deck to make it work, and it's like I'm not playing very high or very much this month, and I'm trying to play like Control Magnus, which is fun. It's a fun warlord to do that with. But I'm stocking 2 City of Light. I'm stocking the Horned Raiment, and I think even Calmech squads or something just to get psychic energy, right? And I'm like, damn. I'm like, this is just a lot of support just to be able to generate enough and only 3 psychic powers in the deck total. Like that's it, because how many can you afford to play in a game? So it's challenging.
Rework. It was a good rework, but I feel like they just went as well, not as always, but as often they do, just a bit too much. Like I really love what they did with the troops, just made them more interesting as a whole. But they really screwed up the warlords so much that now it's really hard to compete at a high level with them. I'm sure it's fun to play just like that, play a couple of games, it's fun, okay? But if you want to, build a real deck that is optimized and deck that, can compete with all that's going on right now, it's really not the time to do it. But I liked what they did. I just wish they, did not went like that too much. But, it's not that bad, so it's kind of fine.
Yeah, it's different at least. They're playable. It's different.
It's not like what they did to my boy Pert. They're playable. All right, you're losing. Why you're losing. It's not like I'm losing. Why am I losing by 3 to 4 damage?
You lost.
Why am I losing every game for 3 to 4 damage?
But at least
because I do my ability 4 times.
But at least Perturabo can use his ability. At least Perturabo can use his ability every turn, even if it only works every second turn. But when you have an ability that you can't. You literally, no matter what state of energy you're in, you can't necessarily use it. That's pretty rough.
Yeah,
that's pretty rough.
It turned Amon and Magnus especially into just basically psychic batteries. Like their abilities were like not even worth using anymore. Airmans you could use in a pinch when you needed to, and Phosis wasn't bad, but I actually found it's funny because you mentioned running 2 City of Lights. I like the change for Raymond. I mean, I know we're kind of going back 2 months now, but I run
Raymond's cool.
I run Flesh Change, and I know that's nice. Kind of seems weird, but like for 1 energy, I get 6 turns of the City of Light when I need it, and that's so that's why I like it better.
I do it.
Yeah, it was a good change. I like it.
No, I think that's respectable. Like I've in the past, I've enjoyed even Prospering Lore. It's just for the you can't, typically your opponent kind of expects you, like they can calculate how much psychic energy you have. A time when you can just surprise them and go +4 psychic energy,
right?
Or just like you can really play them into traps. But again, it's harder to do that burst when you start at Psyker 1.
Yeah,
it's just tough. Yeah, it's really tough.
And we've seen that similar surprises with like the Knights. How they can just magically generate plasma, which they can still do, but they lost the card drawing aspect on some of their key cards. The Thousand Suns don't really have that. They already had lost the card drawing, so it's nice with the troops that they got and the abilities kind of making them a little bit more neat and having a little bit more juice if your troops stick on the table. But at the cost of having your warlord basically just kind of sit there and either throw his face at things or, add 1 point to the pool for a turn 3 or 4 play. With it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, it was an okay patch. Like, there's good things, bad things. But one patch I really liked, and we were talking about it earlier, is really Salamanders, like you said. I think, like, yes, a lot of people are playing it right now, but it's because it's new stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've played it a little bit, but not too much, because I wanted to see how I can build against them. How my decks react against them. And honestly, my decks react in a fair way, in the sense that they always kind of stand a chance against me, and I always stand a chance against them. So it's fun. When I'm playing against Salamanders, I don't feel oppressed. So it's cool. Like, they got good stuff, they got new stuff. It's awesome. But that was one of their best patch in I don't know, man. It's so long.
Yeah, they've never had a patch that good before. Let's be real.
Yeah,
they got at first when I saw it and I thought, oh, Vulcan doesn't make his little baby boy 2-1 survivor guy anymore. I was sad. And then I started to play and see what the teachings did. And I thought, holy smokes, they're actually really, really good now.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is really playable.
My favorite part about the teachings is the old best one that gives Survivor 1 draw a card is now their worst one, which should say a lot about their team.
Right, yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah. It's funny too, because you look at this list. I'm just going to kind of read through it, and and then we can kind of talk about it as a whole. But you look at this list, and this list by itself is good without the change to how sacrifice was adjusted. If you ask me, even if you take away how sacrifice can kind of work, all of these cards still work well without that factored in.
Oh yeah.
So Vulcan has
the new changes.
Yeah. So Vulcan has the
sacrifice was good for all though. Right. Sacrifice helped Bearers. Sacrifice helped Orphans of War a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. Everybody who uses Cultist Sorcerer.
Well, and Orphans of War can get teachings.
Everybody who uses Cultist Sorcerer. Yeah. Don't forget Cultist Acolyte.
Cultist Sorcerer with Astalan is fantastic because you can do damage anyway, but you also get a nifty little demon, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with Seducers in hand.
You slant.
Oh, no, it's not in hand. It's on the board.
Nothing wrong with Seducers on board.
And it drops down.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like the poison, meaning if I'm Salamanders against Corebacks, I'm still doing stuff. Because normally it's, this troop ain't triggering nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
Mm.
I think Wordbearer is probably where that would be the next best helped one in terms of the sacrifice change. I don't know. I don't know how many other I guess you've got the odd sacrifice ability and it suddenly takes on more value. But I'm like, most of the time if they're dying on your own turn, it fucks poison because most times when troops are dying on your turns because you've already traded them in and they're dying, or they're dying of poison. So that's where to me I'm like the poisoners. The poisoner factions aren't really top cheese at the moment in this game, and neither, I don't think there's any top faction that really utilizes poison, so it doesn't particularly matter, but that's where sacrifice shines as well.
It hurt Mortario in tournaments too.
It's like being able to execute my own troops with a tactic real quick to do stuff.
It's really just a matter of adapting your decks, I think. Like I said, I tried really a lot of decks since the patch just to see how those fared. I use my really great decks, some less good. And like I said, when you're playing against Salamanders, yes, they're strong, but they're nowhere as OP as some people think. Yes, they're very present right now, but it's only because they're the shiny new toy. Yeah, they're the shiny new toy. Because otherwise, I don't feel like they're that oppressive at all. I really like the change. That was a really good patch. I like that.
Is the word on the street that they're oppressive? Like, do people believe that this is oppressive?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's just people get they get annoyed by the use rate.
Of course. That never changes. The tears
people
never
don't
stop
like
flowing.
Stuff that didn't work starts to work.
Well, and the thing is, you have to play it, and you have to play against it to see both sides of it. And if you played Salamanders before the patch, and you played after the patch, you can tell why it's better in some areas. Some cards, like Rastan, was a good card already. Resilience and Benevolence make him a really solid card throughout the course of the entire game. And if you're a Vulcan and you can manage to create multiples of those, then you're in an even better state. But if you don't, then your game's going to be thrown off a little bit. Whereas Antitar, the 2/4, sacrifice, destroy troop.
He's epic worthy now, at least.
Yes, before he was like this card, like you might get the sacrifice off, but he was such an easy target. He had 4 health. He was so hard, but now 5 energy, Benevolence, boom, he's going to destroy something, and he's still on the board. And you can give him Survivor with some, he's actually got value that you can use multiple times. Delore Squad, which was the 5/3, is now a 5/4, which is just enough extra juice. And the fact that you can bring him back with Resilience, and they're not Melgatorable.
Resilience is so good now. It's so good.
It's
returning Fire Drakes to play. I'm like, wow.
Right.
Like, you guys really got your shit together. I never thought you would.
Yeah, it makes
it's really impressive.
And I like the fact that Resilience was by far the worst teaching for what it did, and
absolutely
almost from launch, because launch it was bugged because it would. Remember back in the day when you played Resilience initially was sacrifice troop returns to your hand. Sacrifice return the troop to your hand, and then sacrifice was bugged because when it goes to your hand, it would keep that sacrificed ability on it. So people were running Goldstone Hunters and sacrificing them and having them go back to their hand, and they didn't have to play Resilience again. And then every turn they just got a free Goldstone Hunters that they could throw out there. So then they fixed it to make it completely unusable, and now Resilience is my favorite teaching. I'm just gonna say it.
I've been told about that combo before.
Oh,
it's amazing.
It lasted for about a week.
Before it had to be put down?
Before they were like, that's not what we meant to do. We didn't mean for this. Because it wasn't just return to hand, right? Like, then you could also, before they sacrificed, you could play the other one where your troops gain sacrifice, draw a card. So then they return to your hand and you draw a card.
Wow.
I do like current Resilience, and I speak for everyone. Significantly better than the one we had just before the update. Because he was useless.
And a lot of the Astartes that are playable in Salamanders are really hard-ass to kill.
Yes. Yeah. They take multiple shots,
I brought extra removal just for those.
Yeah, unless you're a faction blessed with hard removal, or a lot of gimmicks and tricks, it's hard to kill them with value sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can just respawn your Fire Drakes. I'm like, that's great. You guys are great. I think they've got some game now. I don't think they're oppressive either. But I think that you could play some Salamanders.
You can
on top. They're not a slow, they're not that ponderous faction they used to be either. You can be much more dynamic. Being able to trigger sacrifice in more than one way, even if typically you do trigger it the old-fashioned way, it's made them a lot more dynamic, I think.
I agree.
So they're actually fun to play now as well, right? They're not just... they're actually fun to... Whereas sometimes the grind factions, in order to not be totally oppressive, they're just totally boring as shit. you know, and at least the salamanders have shaken that off. You know, when you can slam something and say, yeah, we're gonna proc its sacrifice, we'll deal 4 to everything, or let's say play some big ass dreadnoughts, you know, like, yeah, they're cool. They're cool.
So good. Yeah. Like, I'm having much more fun with these salamanders than DD Vulcan.
Oh yeah, D&D it worked, but no one could say it was really fun.
Well, it wasn't shit every games.
Yeah,
it was a terrible time.
Well, and I like the fact that between the teachings and the troops that they have already, they feel like the salamanders. They don't die. They keep coming back. You know, they're not plotting, but they're resilient. That's just it.
Yeah,
and they're gonna make it. They're gonna make a fight for it.
I do love the Dreadnought change. It went from the worst troop in their group, to Well, no, Dak. I'm sad about Dak.
Oh, you're talking about Xaver.
Xaver was very strong as a change because now it's hurting the entire board, proccing more sacrifices. That's fun.
It's such a good trigger.
It's a
he's good. Around. Yeah.
My problem is
he's good.
Dak was very unique in his old form, so I'm very sad to see him change to just damage. But it's fair.
But Dak with benevolence can get dirty. Where you go 5, sacrifice 9, benevolence 13. I'm like, holy smokes! Yeah, they're fun. Even the Iron Hands, you know, who got patched even before then, I think got patched in. I guess it's mostly Santar that you see because the Warlords are still pretty cruddy. But that you can play, you know, you can do a little bit more with Santar. I'm like, that's cool. The hammers, I had an actual hammer. But yeah, that whole expansion actually got some teeth now.
The Mentor's got 2 HP extra.
Oh, that's lovely for him.
Of all the ones, that's the one I'm going to disagree with. They
should have just gave him 1 survivor.
If they would have given him a way to gain health, or I don't know, gain a way to like not necessarily negate, but minimize the direct damage. That was his problem. The way to get around him, but like he didn't survive Istvan 5, so he shouldn't get survivor.
I agree.
Sure.
He should not be a survivor. He's definitely, you know, I mean, by that logic, like, geez, like that whole expansion, just like 12 dead warlords or 9 dead warlords.
Yeah, we don't see him anymore, but there was once a day when Duquesne events, man. Whew, those were good times.
Well, I was
Duquesne
excited
can
for
still
Duquesne.
be good an event.
I was excited for him for the Iron Hands release because we had these rapier lasers, these really cool new ability-based Iron Hands vehicles and stuff, and like it just never stuck.
No.
But the idea of I like frontline warlords, you know, let me take it on the face and let my troops do what they got to do.
That's
face the place.
We're talking about Ishvan 5 and how it was like the massacre factions. Raven Guard are getting their event or campaign after the next one. They could come with a balance patch. We could see their entire completely buffed or changed.
I see what you're saying, but I played Carax in top 50 in August, man. I don't think they need any.
They've been patched a lot lately. They've enjoyed patches very recently.
They're good.
I think
fine.
The event. This is Everguild we're talking about. There is very little rhyme or reason over what faction will suddenly be put under the buff spotlight.
I think that we're coming up to the siege of the Saturnine Wall. We know that the boys in pink played a role in it, so I think finally the Emperor's children will get touched in a way that's pleasurable for everybody.
That's you.
Yes, I agree.
Those are your dreams.
Come up in 4 days.
You guys now know that LCFR wanted to say that the whole time. Let's make the Emperor's children great.
It's coming. Lucius on top again. It's coming, boy.
I've been waiting since 2018.
On a very special episode of Touched by a Primarch.
Featuring LTFR.
Right.
I've got little crab claws I can put on. I've got these little crab claw hats on my fingers that I used in a video once, so I'm ready.
Please.
Bring back the LCFR and cosplay. Do it.
That's right. That's special.
Yeah, I keep every wig, my friends. They never go bad.
Awesome. So yeah, good balance changes recently. I like that. They're going into the right direction. I just wish, as always, they do those every 2 or 3 weeks instead of a month and a half.
Yeah, because before this, right? This was on September 8th. So the patch that happened prior to that, which was the Thousand Suns one, if I'm correct, that was back on October 10th or August 10th. Sorry. So, I mean, we probably
almost a month.
Yeah, exactly. So we probably won't see. I mean, it'd be nice to see a couple in between, but if we get another big one, it probably will be in the middle of October, which maybe will also go hand in hand with some news about, a new expansion coming out here.
Yeah.
Just for conversation's sake, what are you guys' pick on which faction would likely receive the big patch treatment? Significant patching.
Boys, because technically I'm going to be in the future here in a minute for those listening at home. If 2 days ago World Leaders got a patch with the campaign, just say I called it. Right? We're just going to preemptively do this.
You're saying
because I have a feeling. I'm saying World Leaders after the end of this campaign and switch to the World Leaders one, we'll see something done to them.
And LCFR, you're saying Emperor's Children?
Well, I would love Emperor's Children, but I think that if not Emperor's Children, they may finally... I really can't think, aside from Emperor's Children and Night Lords, who's waiting in line the longest to get touched?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, who aside from them...
Night Lords was my pick. Yeah, they're waiting. Savitar's there. He just needs a little bit more.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I agree with the Night Lords.
The Night Lords were my pick, not just for that, but because Halloween's in a month too, and we always get cars in the store.
We're gonna get cars in the store.
That could be a good opportunity to do it. So we'll see.
I heard that
every month we go without a Night Lord buff, I get stronger. It's been 2 years.
I believe
I'm only getting stronger.
Most recent data download, there was also something in there about alt art Sevatar.
What?
I will buy it just because voice lines.
So
yeah, I love Sevatar.
So if we get alt art Sevatar, and it coincides with a update to the Night Lords, that would make sense, especially if it takes place in October. It seems fitting, and like I said, that's my pick. Those guys have been without a patch for a very long time, and for a long time they were carried primarily by Kurz, and just being really efficient. But he's seen better days, and
you're right, Scuffed. And the thing is, with Night Lords, it's what carries them is their legendaries. Their legendaries are amazing. Yeah. Problem is, the rest of their troops are trash, and their warlords mainly are not too bad, but they need a little help, But the troops, I was going through the troops with those the other day just for fun, because we were trying to build Night Lords for tournament for fun and shit. And man, they have the worst fucking things on this game. God damn.
Especially
I found other altars
that exist. Oh, are you talking about the 3-1? Are you talking about the 3-1 with Terror?
No, I'm talking about the 2-2 that gives minus 2 attack to an enemy troop this turn, so it doesn't even last.
Right.
It doesn't even last for next turn. Come on. What the hell is that? Please.
We mentioned altars. I do want to mention Raven Guard's Shuriken is getting one, and so is Erebus. Yeah, we're going back to Erebus.
Oh, wow. That'll be awesome.
It's fun. I like alt art. It's cool.
My prediction, honestly, maybe I'll leave off with a prediction because it's almost midnight. That means I'll turn back into a pumpkin, and then life gets terrible once I'm a pumpkin. So my prediction, honestly, is that they could literally work with existing art. They're able to work from almost 360 angles with it and build almost an expansion plus 5th Warlord to really any set and every set. Mm-hmm. Or you could even... if their licensing allows them, you even get to do the Legion Wars once the traders flee into the Eye of Terror. There's so much existing material that can be used just with what they already have in the game, that I suspect that even if I don't know that they'll give us the Emperor, because I'm like, wow, when has any GW licensed game really given us the Emperor? It's something heretical, even about the thought of it. I can't think of it anymore. But I do think that they'll push Fifth Warlords with small expansion packs, and then the next expansion may well be just like we did the Horse Heresy book series, and then now the spotlight is on the Siege of Terra series to basically wrap it up. And this is a Black Library driven game as well. So I expect that the next expansion very well may be, okay, great, we've got all the legions. You know what you're going to see now? You're going to see an entire expansion that's focused exclusively at the Siege of Terra, that focuses on all the legions that participate there, plus the neutral factions as well. I think they've got more than enough room to do that, even if it means reusing some warlords or reusing some similar concepts. That's kind of my prediction with where it goes. And I think they keep telling this story, and even just focusing on the Siege of Terra, you've got a lot of expansion meat there. You have a lot of expansion meat there. You could do the War in the Webway as well as its own expansion, even if that's chronologically prior. There's enough oomph there.
Yeah, we do not even have the Tsench faction or something, so I agree.
That's right.
There's a lot of things they can work with, and I totally agree with everything you said, but like Scott D said, and I agree with that too, I think October is a critical month for at least, so that we know what the hell's going to happen, or at least we see something. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
Because more word than none is always good. Wish Every Guild would talk to us more. They really need to do if only they had a way to, answer some questions.
Well, did you apply to community manager yet, or what?
No, I'm trying to say, where the hell is our Q&A?
That's right. They had that job posting too that came up. I was going to look into that. I just, again, with everything, is like I never got a chance to. But they had some job postings listed.
Yep, they did. A couple of our guys applied. Some were lucky. They got interviews. Some did not. But yeah, no news from now. I don't know who's getting something. I don't even know if it's going to be from someone we know. So we'll see.
Right. Well, and I know I sent them an email asking if they wanted to participate in the podcast or be on that. They said that they were going to decline. They wanted to stay anonymous, and that's fine. But it was nice that they at least responded to that. But I think if we get any communication with them, it will be the Q&A, and hopefully we know when that Q&A is going to be taking place here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hopefully.
We've gone a long while without a Q&A. I'm pretty sure the last one was just before the expansion. It was
and you know what? Like it, yeah. Look back at the last one. There were quite a few things brought up that were addressed in the last 3-4 patches.
Yes.
Like one of the big ones was DD that was brought up by none other than I think Constantine Valdor got the honor of asking that question. But yeah, it's they've done some work. They've taken the feedback.
Yep.
My favorite part of every time anyone's mentioned DD to him, they went, DD's fine. And everyone went, what?
You don't remember?
Fuck's sake.
DD's fine. DD's going exactly how we want it to.
Yeah. The game's not too... Like, I was talking with some other veteran players. The game is way more balanced than it used to be. Like, right now, there's Korn's favor is a fucking pain in the ass. Kazdrak is still a problem. Like, there's some stuff there, but it's nowhere as bad as, I don't know, let's go back 6 or 7 months back then when it was only Knights on the Ladder and stuff like that.
Right.
It's nowhere as bad. It's nowhere as bad. There's some annoying stuff, but it's manageable, to be honest.
I'm very happy with the Night Nurse. The Night Nurse were nice. Lowering the draw. It actually helped in lowering the amount.
It wasn't even that much. Let's be fair. It wasn't even that much. They just let them be stunned, and that was it. That's all it took.
I feel like stun, it definitely helped, but I don't think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I feel like it was the draw.
The cycling.
The draw hurts. No, don't get me wrong. The draw hurts, but the stun did a lot. It just said, now I can deal with this. Now I can deal with something that's raining on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
you don't have another las rifle? Oh, no.
They should have kept the ability for them to use their weapons while stunned, but negate the option to swap out a weapon once it's been used.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be nice too, because it was very annoying where they would hit you, swap the weapon,
hit you with 4 battle cannons in a turn. You're like, wow, thanks. How did you change your arm in the 30 seconds?
I know that no one cares about lore stuff, but yes, that would be nice if they couldn't change their stuff. That would make a lot more sense if we were actually looking at this properly.
A lot of people suggested it as in I set up my setup before the match and I load in with those are my guns, which could be neat, but that would require them to completely rework the weapon system.
Oh yeah, no, it would. Yeah. They'd have to scrap everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
and bring out what, a dozen cards to replace the weapon system that you have.
Right. Yeah, that'd be too much effort. Some people are shooting for the moon.
At that point, you might as well just have a Titans faction. Let's be real.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's be fair. Rework Canis with it. Oh yeah, we can dream, right?
They have mentioned that we have got all the expansion factions. They did say we've got all the factions now.
We've got all the legions.
Fair.
They might add more.
Not even that. Information next month, eh?
Exactly.
They mentioned during the Q&A after that expansion, the one we just got, that's the factions. They may do more, but for now, that's the factions. The next expansion is going to be future cards added to the previous ones. I would like
and that's fine too. The license goes so far, right? Like it's not like they can just pull things out that they don't have access to.
Correct.
Yeah, they have no access to Xenos.
Yeah, which is fine because it's not called 40K. It's not called Warhammer 40K. It's called the Horse Heresy, and that's always been their kind of stance. Like as much as people, there were orcs during the time. Well, yes, but the story is about the heresy and the legions and Chaos's influence and the siege. That's really what the whole heresy is about. And as much as you want to say there's Xenos in there, that's I think there might have been a short story or two that I've read in all of the 49 books that I've read so far where there are some killing of Eldar radars or orcs, but there's not a novel.
Orcs come up once, I think.
Yeah, there's not a novel of that taking place, like where that's the battle. The novels are about Legion versus Legion.
The Necron aren't awake yet. The Tyranids haven't showed up. The Tau haven't evolved yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Eldar appear to say cryptic things at the characters and then fuck off. And the orcs are like groups of 5 to 10 that are just chilling in caves. That's our Xenos. We don't got enough.
To be fair, Axel, there was other Xenos. They got genocide.
Okay, so you know what? Okay, and that bring the Seraphim. You know, I'm talking about the ones that I can't remember the specifics, but they were erased in the early books, like the first 3 books. They talk about the Seraphim. That's one thing you could do, but like that doesn't seem on point anymore.
Right?
No, I understand.
The factions I mentioned were the ones that were like the major armies that you can play. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If they did a Xenos faction, if they did the Cabal, and you had Eldrad Uvan as a Cabal warlord, and Jonathan Grammaticus. And like the Eldar Prince, the Dark Eldar Prince that's in there, and then the Slotty guy that's also, I think eventually Eldrad like assassinates. But I mean that's the closest thing to a group of Xenos working in the background, and they eventually get obsoleted.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way I could see them do that. But even then, I see them do that. But you're right. That would make the most sense in making the Cabal a faction, but that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I do want the future though, where we get Pius as the warlord. His warlord form was so nice.
Oh man, we can hope, right?
Yeah.
The survivor for days.
Yes.
Another world I want is where Vulcan gains 1 extra attack every time he procs Reckoning. I want to see that angry amphibian. Please, I'm begging you.
Big toad, bud.
We're getting into the hour and 20 mark, and I know it's been a while, but I think usually this time, just kind of, you guys have been on before, so we've kind of talked what your backgrounds are, other games you played, what your interests are in 40K, but what have you guys been up to? I guess outside of World Cup, what other stuff have you been up to in the last since last we talked?
Any liver damage?
Not a whole lot for me. Not a whole lot for me. I mean, we're still in lockdown over here. Well, a shade of lockdown. So just kind of hermiting out, keeping it easy. Work steady.
As for me, really, I took like a month, so I've been really partying fucking hard. That's one of those reasons why I couldn't do much during the past months and stuff. I was just really too much out, And now I'm back. It's time to get back into the game, do top 50 again. I actually missed top 50 the last month for the first time in over a year, a full year. But I'm back in top 50 now. I'll get it done, as always. But other than that, just having a good time, man. Just relaxing. Now it's time to play some Legion. And, now it's time to focus on Lodge War. Hopefully, we have a great tournament. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Axel? What you been up to?
I haven't been up to much. I'm still doing my thing where I'm constantly DMing for a group of people who are making their life goal to ruin any campaign I try to do. It's I mean, that's just what happens when you DM. That's your life.
I was gonna say that sounds like every session.
Damn.
You live to have your campaigns destroyed.
It's the old okay, how long can we go before I have to throw this entire notebook in the trash?
Yeah. Exactly right.
Well, I've been obviously, we're back here doing recording, but the last month and a half I've been busy moving. We talked a little bit about that before we started up recording, but I had to move locations, and we have the Eye of Terror Studios, which is never in one place to begin with, is now in a different never in one place location.
Yes,
and that's really taken a lot of time and energy, and beyond that, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to do much other games, play a whole lot of other stuff. So I'm looking to gradually, as I get unpacked and things put back where they go, kind of work back into some routine stuff. And you had mentioned Pirate Bar Night Legions. I'd like to get that going again. I really quick before I want to say when because I think I'd probably do it in October, but I know you hosted one for me while I was out. Was it in July or was it in August?
It was in July. Yeah, we had the time. A lot of people showed up because, obviously, like you said, you were busy. So it had been a while since you had one. So people were excited. It was fun. So yeah, next one, I'm sure a lot of people will show up again, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. I'd like to
the last one was my first.
Nice. See? It's always a good time. And hopefully do it, get back to doing it every other week. I think that we were doing it bi-weekly, and just a good time to kind of get together, play some cards, drink some beer, and laugh. And
exactly. And what I did when I hosted it, I kind of tried to do it in a time that is a bit late for European, but not too early for us. That worked well because we had a lot of Europeans showed up, so that was cool. That was a good time. So yeah, hopefully when you do it next time, we just have as much, if not more, fun. It's always great, man.
Very good, nice. Yeah, and I think that's definitely a big point because there are a lot of guys I think who got to play who hadn't been able to make it because every time we normally do it, like right now for us for me it's 11. I think for you guys it's like probably 1 a.m. Am I right?
Yeah, it's 12 for me.
1 a.m.
Okay, yeah. So for them it's like 5 or 6
it's 12.
in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll try to keep it a little bit earlier if we can. That'd be great, and do it a little bit more consistently. Get some more players out there between that and Lodge Wars, and just in general, participate in the community. If you're hearing this and you're listening, I guess we're rolling to plugs. Plug community participation. We talked about the tournaments. Those happen every week on the Discord. I don't know when the next Reddit tournament that they're going to do, but keep your eyes out for those. Great way to get prizes, cards. We've got the Bar Night Legions. We've got the community content that's out there for the contest I'm doing. For the promo codes, I'll be doing the deck list contest. There's just a lot of ways to get involved and stay involved. And I'm just like on a one-track mind, but also this podcast, the Warp Chatter podcast, is an open invite. I've got a few people talk to me over the course of the last month, kind of wondering what was going on with the deck list contest and the podcast. And so I've got some people scheduled to be guests here, and hopefully some people are happy to hear the contests are returning. But if you want to participate in these things, Warp Chatter podcast, be a guest, deck list submissions, just hit me up on Discord or on Facebook or Reddit, wherever. That's what I got. You guys got anything to plug?
Yeah, I'll go, man. I'm gonna plug Team Canada because we won.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah!
Fuck yeah.
So, gotta plug myself and my teammate, because obviously, pretty proud about that. But
And
other
plug
than that,
CFR, who's no longer with us
yes, may his soul rest in
in the
peace.
podcast.
May Slanesh
he died.
He had
yeah,
to go.
He's
Slanesh,
snoozing.
Slanesh, damn Slanesh.
Warp
So
over
yeah,
back.
that's pretty much it for me. Involve yourself in the community, boys. People are nice. It's a good time these days. It's one of the best times to be in the community at the moment. Nothing's too shabby. It's cool.
All right, how about you, Greg?
Yeah, same deal for me. I mean, same deal for me. I play tournaments. Tournaments are fun. The more people in a tournament, the more fun it is. It's going to be like maybe half a dozen or a dozen matches for you on a weekend. If you got the time, play a tournament. It's nothing to sign up. You just got to make a challenge, and then you get in. It's a great time.
Hell yeah.
And hey, you win, you get a legendary. That's always
Hell
nice.
yeah, hell yeah.
Even
Or
have
if
all
you come
the
second, you get a
legendaries,
handful. You get a handful of coins. Like what's wrong with a handful of coins?
Fucking
Yeah,
right.
you can buy chats with it. Which worst case scenario is just more gems for the secondary game mode usage we'll get soon. One of these days.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Maybe we'll get it before I die of old age. And I'm young.
That's what you say. I know you're like 60 years old, bud.
We know I'm older than time itself.
Crabs age more.
Crabs age in reverse.
You're young in crab years. It's like dog years,
Truly.
but it's different. What you got?
100 human
anything to
years
plug
is one
there,
crab
Axel?
year. Yeah, I'm gonna plug my boy Darn. Darn.
Darn.
He does
Lord Corn.
Lord Corn. The man who does beautiful art. That's Drew Lee Clark, and his Instagram actually changed. It's now Dorn Stash, so it should be easier to find for people who actually know the guy.
Uh-huh.
On Instagram, he does art.
Cool.
That's enough said. Made my profile picture. Beautiful little crab with a pirate hat.
All right. Well, I think this is a little shorter for an episode. I think just kind of getting things back on track. Usually we run like an hour and 40, but it's been
We gotta get the ball rolling.
Exactly. Just getting back out there. You got to get back on the saddle. And it's been 6+ weeks since we got back on the saddle, so I appreciate you guys guesting and happy to be here and talking again post World Cup. It's always good to chat with everybody, and especially with the World Cup, to kind of put a cap on it and obviously give you guys the congratulations that are due.
Thanks a lot, man, and I'm very glad that you're back into the schedule for your content. It's awesome. So thanks a lot for the World Cup and the hosting us. It's awesome, man. Thanks a lot, bud.
All right. Well, that's it for me. You guys got anything to go?
Worship chaos. Chaos is good for you. The use.
It's not that good for you, but yeah.
I mean, let's be real here. Everyone could go with a pair of crab hands. All right, crab claws.
A crab hand.
Nothing wrong with some
Okay,
crab
if you had to pick a mutation, though, that would be the mutation that you
Crab
pick.
claws. Think about it. You're constantly packing a weapon.
What the fuck?
Am I wrong? You have crab claws. You can open up a can. You'll rip the can in half in the process. You're sacrificing opposable sums for utility.
I don't even know what to answer to that.
You're sacrificing opposable sums for utility, my people. You don't understand.
I don't know. I like the tentacles. I mean, I'm not a Slaneshi guy.
We're all choosing the wrong option. The answer is wings.
I can't wait for someone to just crop that sentence out of the podcast and just hear Scotty say, I love the tentacle.
I love
just,
the tentacle.
That's going to come back to
my
us,
soundboard.
right?
When I make my soundboard,
You said it. It's too late. It's too late now.
I just throw that next to Juice and the Boys. Come on, that's good stuff.
That in the basements of Las Vegas.
Hey, I've got several soundtracks going for these things. One day I'm going to pull them all out. Which reminds me, actually, I mean, we're kind of on the tail end of things, but we're talking about the New Year's end of year party podcast. Me and Axe are going to do. We're going to do. It's going to be crazy. I don't know.
Only drunk. There's no sober people.
It's going to be all drunk. There's not going to be any. I don't think we're going to have any topic. We're just going to have people on and rotating in, drinking out, and, happy 2022.
Holy fuck, count me in.
Yeah.
Yo, you're already on the list. You're on the list.
Okay,
Dorn Stash is on the list because we need the 3 musketeers of drink.
That's right.
Sweet.
And then I think what I was planning on
You can
doing,
fill up high, that counts.
if I can think of something ahead of time, I'd like to do a holiday special holiday podcast episode and come up with some custom jingles, some holiday carols, if you will, for the Horus Heresy game. I've done those in the past on the channel. I've done like one video a year annually, taking a beloved Christmas carol song and
ruining it
and Horus Heresy-fying it. If I have the time, I'm going to make a whole list of them, and then I'll have us and guests, and we'll just do some carols, some caroling, some chaos caroling.
Hell yeah.
That's my dream. I don't know if it will happen, but if you guys want to, listen to that, stay tuned. Oh, shit.
This is going to be amazingly awful.
I forgot. Like, speaking of staying tuned, before we go, how to...
talk about your challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, geez, I almost
forgot. Or your draft or draw, whatever.
So, in order to participate for podcast listeners, and I apologize.
Send us your credit card information.
At this point, I mean, we are an hour and a half into the recording. I apologize for giving you the Ryan Seacrest treatment. I did not mean to delay it, but if you are interested or would like to participate or submit your name for the drawing for the podcast, I'm going to try to bring this up every episode until October 23rd. All you need to do is reach out, PM me, ping me, message me, whatever platform that you use and access it to, and let me know what your favorite episode of the podcast was. I'm going to keep it simple because it's an audio format. It's not quite the same visually. But once if anybody who's out there and listened, I'm going to put your name in a hat. So hopefully we get a lot of names. I think every episode generates about 200 unique listens. I don't think we'll get 200 submissions, but it'd be nice to see at least more than 10.
That's a lot of free coins, and if you don't put your name in there, I will go in as several other variants of Axel J. Manning. All right.
Who is this Faxel J. Canning? I don't know who that is.
Damn crabs, eh?
That's it. So that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do to participate for the podcast. And if that's too easy for you, then participate in the card creation contest, because that's also going on the YouTube channel. And that is all I have to say.
That's still too easy. If you give me your social insurance number, I can maybe hook you up. For legal reasons, don't do this. Please.
Oh my God.
All right, that's it for me, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Come on, folks. Bye.
The sunlight dims.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Eternal loyalty!
Burn it! Burn it all!
Well executed!